I do want to ask this. Mike Williams
Yeah.
traded from the Jets. This is not a big surprise. It felt like he was on his way out from New York, but
Yes.
going to the Steelers.
Well, I hate to say that I told you so stuff. But, we said this on Thursday. Remember I said.
He loves doing that.
I know, yeah. Thursday before the game when the Jets played on Thursday Night Football, on the show, you guys may recall, I said, I think I'd add Mike Williams to the end of your bench just in case he gets traded, right? And he ends up going to Pittsburgh. And so I don't think that Mike Williams, not this weekend at least, I don't think that Mike Williams is a lock, like top 25 wide receiver rest of the season.
No.
Definitely not. But you could do worse as an end-of-bench stash than Mike Williams now going to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a couple of reasons. First of all, they did need a number 2 wideout, right? It's been the smorgasbord of Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson, and Roman Wilson hasn't even played their third-round pick. He's been banged up and just hasn't really earned his stripes as of yet. But a couple of things that interested me. I know that people are going to say, is it that pass-heavy of an offense? It is not. But looking ahead, the Steelers do hit this part of their schedule where they might need to throw the football more, right? It does start this weekend, I would argue, against the Commanders. The Steelers are so good on defense. It may never be like a 35-31 type of game, but we saw them play a very pass-heavy game against the Colts earlier on this season. The rest of the schedule includes the Commanders this weekend, 2 games against the Ravens. They can move the ball against anybody, right? 2 games against the Bengals. They can move the ball pretty darn well. The Eagles, the Chiefs, 2 teams. The Eagles are an excellent offense. The Chiefs kind of finding their way. This could be a pass-heavier offense the rest of the way than it has been so far.
Yeah, they're calling the 4th run-heaviest offense this season. A little bit of that is Justin Fields was in there, but they're still leaning towards the run even with Russell Wilson. It's only been 2 games. He certainly helps the pass volume for sure because he's not going to run as much naturally. He's not going to scramble as much, so that helps. They do have the 4th easiest schedule for receivers going forward, to your point. I've talked about that with George Pickens the last couple of weeks. However, we've had such a hard time with Arthur Smith offenses supporting one pass catcher in fantasy.
Really fair, yeah.
I don't know how Mike Williams gets to consistent value. Just think about the Steelers are dead last in receiver targets this season. Some of that's that they have George Pickens.
Is that a
no one
chicken
else.
versus egg thing?
No, no doubt about it. However, Atlanta during his 3 years there was last by 92 targets over anyone else. Tennessee was 28th in wide receiver targets during 2019 to 20 when he was there. I mean, it's a trend. Like they don't feature the receivers. They're like the only team I think that I have projected with 4 tight ends to receive at least 1 target this week. I mean, because they utilize those other positions. So I don't love it. I think that maybe in 12-team leagues, maybe he's like a dart throw flex most weeks, but I think we're going to be ranking him in the 40s most weeks.
So I'll just say this is relative, and you weren't on the waiver wire show yesterday, but I know you were obviously dialed in on the waiver wire. We were talking about how it's borderline bone dry right now.
Oh my God,
right?
it's awful.
So
this week. Yeah.
through the prism of like Mike Williams, who would you rather? And this is just like a totally random one. I don't need like a definitive hard stance, but like rest of the season, do you feel like much stronger about Mike Williams or Xavier Legette?
No, I don't feel super strong about one or the other.
Okay.
I think I would probably lean Legette, but yeah, it's not.
The only reason why I ask about that player specifically is he was on our waiver wire ads yesterday.
he was the number 2 waiver wire ad
So it's
from
like,
the wide
the pickings are so slim right now that while I don't think Mike Williams all of a sudden is a top 25 wide receiver, if he was available in your league, and he was available in a lot of leagues, and you're looking to throw some players at the end of your bench, we have reached the point of the season where even an uptick in value that Mike Williams likely will see is good enough for me to throw him on my bench in a 12-team or larger league.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I have him on a couple end of benches. A couple weeks ago when the rumor started, I picked him up in a couple leagues. I would say I'm not shocked that he got traded. We were talking about it, but also the Jets don't have your guy Allen Lazard for a while. They're suddenly a little short with depth at wide receiver. So
Did you guys see Aaron Rodgers' reaction to the trade? It was
I missed that.
Yesterday.
Yeah, live on Matt.
Yeah, I got this general sense that like Rodgers was cool. Like he wasn't at all disrespectful to Mike, but you could tell. Like my interpretation was just like, yeah, the chemistry just wasn't formed there. Right. And like while Mike is correct, they're now thin at wide receiver 3. That Mike probably wasn't going to have a meaningful role in this offense this year. The Jets, by the way, get off some money. They get a draft pick back. Important to a team that's going to need to really nail the draft in coming seasons because they have a lot of expensive players already, And they're going to have guys like Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson who are going to start to make a whole lot more money than they currently do as well.
Yeah, so this, go ahead.
That draft pick might be able to help him win a Super Bowl for you, Mike, this year, right? Because he'll be able to at least be out there on the field.
Yeah, who knows? I think it made a sense a little bit from positioning of players, too, because now you have Adams and Wilson on the inside, and everyone else is a slot guy with Gibson and Malachi Corley. Despite the boneheaded play last week, they want to get him more work. And, of course, when Lazard comes back,
third round.
he's inside as well. So, yeah, we'll see what they try to do. But for a team that's all in for this year, mildly surprising, but basically it was like Williams out, Adams in.
That was my only thought for a team that was supposedly all in this year to get rid of a wide receiver when you're already a little bit loose at the depth spot with Lazard going on IR. I was bummed, Mike, because you basically took the snark out of what I was going to say here. It's like anytime I can have a wide receiver too in an Arthur Smith-led offense is exactly what I was
Exactly, yeah. That's my thought. I just
get you.
can't. And receiver, I know we've had a ton of injuries, but it's still deep. I mean, it's a deep position. Not as deep as running back right now, which is a topic we should get into this week at some point, but it's just, I don't know.
It's deeper than running back. Running back had just a different kind of depth, I would argue.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's deep in a different way.
I think there's just a lot. I mean, we're seeing a lot of strong weekly performances from running backs, and they're healthy. It's healthy. The position's healthy right now,
Mike,
which we don't get to say very often.